TG Geeks, episode 252, December 16th, 2019. The Last Man Hanging. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane. We're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona, where we're furiously trying to get a bunch of stuff done before the holidays.
Yes, and I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from the first of 3 episodes we got to crank out today.
Yeah.
Here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we are going to talk to K.D. Edwards about The Hanged Man, which is releasing tomorrow if you're listening to this on Monday. If you're listening on Krypton Radio on Tuesday,
it's out.
It's out. It was released today. So that's what we're talking about. He was so excited about that, and we were very excited about hearing him talk about it, and we got to advance copy to read it, and it's just a great book. So if you've read The Last Son, you will enjoy The Hanged Man. Let's just...
Yeah.
I'll stop talking.
Stop there. Yeah.
Let
him talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. We have birthday shout-outs. We have our featured podcast of the week. And we have some feedback this time, as well as our regular shout-outs, and a couple little housekeeping items in the second segment, as well as our weekly recap and our regular shout-outs. So we're going to get started with this interview right now. And we welcome back to our show Mr. K.D. Edwards, the author of The Last Son, who has a new book releasing tomorrow, and it is called The Hanged Man. And
shame on all of you people out there who have not at least heard of The Hanged Man by now.
Exactly. No, not shame. Maybe they've never heard of The Last Son. Who knows? You know, they could be listening to our podcast for the very first time.
I'm just thinking about all those people who at least read our follow our website.
Yeah. Well, and we're talking over, the person that we're supposed to be interviewing. Of course, that's what we always do anyway. So you know how it goes. Anyway, welcome, Keith.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah. So tell us, you have to be very excited at this point. I know we've been watching and following on Twitter and all this kind of stuff. It's so exciting. And we have to say we got a pre-release copy, and
we got a review out.
And we've got a review out.
Yep.
And it is just for everybody. This book is absolutely incredible. It is equal to, if not better than, The Last Son.
I say it's better than The Last Son, in my opinion.
So your writing has only gotten better.
It's gotten better. It is my favorite book that I've ever read. I've read it twice now, and
wow.
It still hits you right between the eyes. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. So tell us about for people that, here we go.
Boy.
For people that have not listened to our show and don't know who you are, tell us who you are, what you've done, how you got into writing, what the first book was, and then we'll segue into The Hanged Man and what that's all about.
And when do you expect to quit your day job?
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, let me just make sure who's listening to this first before I answer that question.
Exactly.
It's actually kind of funny. You get asked that question as a writer, but I had just done a written interview with the blog today, and they asked that, and for the first time, I basically just gave an honest response, which was more or less, I made a mess of my life up until I was in my 30s. I'm not afraid to admit that I jumped around from job to job. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my daytime life. And so I tried everything out from being a paralegal to working in a bank. I worked with interactive television before the internet exploded and everything became interactive. I worked for Starbucks. I worked on a retail department store, did regional management for that retail department store, and sold bariatric furniture. So
Wow.
I had literally, it wasn't until I started doing human resources that I realized that's what I love to do during the day. And I did human resources in higher ed, which is my calling. About this time, when everything kind of stabilized, I made the decision that the only thing I've consistently wanted my entire life was to be a writer. From the very beginning, I've wanted to be a storyteller. It's the first thing I remember wanting to be. It's been everything, my driving force through my life. And now that everything's stable in my daytime job, I really turn my attention to making this a reality.
I just had a thought as you were running through your life story just there. With all this varied background that you've got in terms of different jobs jumping around, you've got to, I have to believe that on some deep psychological level, that is feeding into the material that you're writing, that somehow you've got a wealth of life experience already by jumping around like that, and that has got to be acting as some kind of creative fuel in helping to build the world. Even though you make there's a coffee shop, Rune loves coffee, things like that. There's so much there that I'm getting a sense of that kind of, I think, is informing how you write.
So do you like devil dogs?
It's not even just that. It's the places I've lived too, because all those jobs were in different parts of the country. I grew up in Massachusetts, lived in Boston. I've lived in Maine. We had a summer place up in New Hampshire. I spent a year in Colorado. Spent 5 years in Missoula, Montana.
Oh, dear.
About 5 years in Spokane, Washington. Now I'm in North Carolina.
Really?
So that has really affected my writing, because every part of this country, unless you really live there and experience it, just the people are so different, and the mindsets and how geography dominates everything in one way or the other. My whole novel is based around a patchwork city, so elements of that come through.
So when were you in Spokane?
That was just before North Carolina. I was working for a retail department chain called Shopco, and when I got promoted to the regional team, I worked in the Pacific Northwest, but I was based in Spokane, and that job got eliminated, unfortunately. And rather than take a job in their head office, I became a Starbucks store manager in Spokane, Washington. Worst experience of my life. Starbucks may be a great organization, treats their employees really well. I am not a good coffee maker. Love coffee. I am not a good barista.
See, I lived in Spokane 25 years ago. And I worked at a coffee shop that was there, not a Starbucks. So coffee was a big thing, obviously, in Spokane.
And you say that as if it no longer is.
Well, who knows? It probably still is. But
I took because the city of New Atlantis is based on buildings from across the world. I took a building. One of the buildings in The Last Sun is from Spokane, the Otis. It was like this, by the time I lived there, this Otis was this rundown, like really dark and seedy hotel that a lot of people lived in who, like day-to-day rent sort of thing.
Keith is right. My husband
gorgeous building.
My husband's kind of puzzling. I'm looking at his face right now, and his eyes are rolling. It's like he's trying to picture where this is located.
Yeah. Is that?
I couldn't remember exactly. It's at the bottom of was it called South Hill?
Yeah, I think so.
The very bottom of South Hill on that side of Spokane. But it was really a seedy place.
Was
but
it downtown?
Had the bones of a gorgeous building that it used to be. You could tell that when it was created, it was just a beautiful stone building, and that was one of the locations in Last Sun.
Yeah, the coffee shop that I worked at was right downtown, where you had to, if you were going down one of the main drags out of downtown, you had to make the left, and I don't remember the name of the streets. And the rescue mission was a kind of catty-cornered from it, and this building was one of those hotel-like places that, so it may very well be the same building. Who knows? Anyway. So,
wow, it's a small world after all.
So, fast forward to North Carolina. You're doing your human resources job, and you said, "Hey, I'm going to write a book."
Well, I mean, I've been writing off and on my whole life, but that was the first time I said, "I'm going to do this seriously." Right. And The Last Son wasn't or the first thing I wrote when I made that decision. I decided that I was literally going to do some practice books that were novels that I wasn't going to try to publish. I was just going to try to teach myself the skill of putting a book together. And I did a young adult novel. I did a gay male mystery novel. And
I want to read that.
I actually, at some point, I might go back to that because I really did like the idea behind it quite a bit. But when I was done with those, I felt I was good enough to write something that I was maybe going to try to sell. And this is a story I've always wanted to tell in one way or the other, these characters in particular. And when I first started it, the very first thing I did was a 2-page prologue. And it wasn't even about the characters. It was about just the city of New Atlantis. And I kind of just, when you're onto something as a writer, you feel a spark and you know that this is something, it's almost like deja vu, like it feels like I've already completed something because I sense something big is ahead of me. And This was the novel I was meant to write. So.
Well, you had something that was actually published prior to The Last Son.
Oh, that's right. You guys hunted that down.
I hunted that down.
Yeah, my writing group, they did a shared world anthology.
It was a wonderful story. It was post-apocalyptic, and it was a very touching story. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, and Goodreads knows I did it too, and they're merciless about linking stuff together. So even if I didn't like that story, I have no say in it. You could find it now.
Yeah. Well, I found it on Amazon of all places.
I was really proud of it, and the other pieces in too. I mean, we did a lot of work together as a team, and it was more of an exercise for self-publishing something and doing something together, like anthology-wise. And it was an amazing experience with just an incredible group of people. And I do want to go back. That's one of the genres I want to write. In fact, I have a series in my head that I want to do between tarot sequence novels, and it is definitely post-apocalyptic. It's a genre that it's like my guilty pleasure.
Right. Well, and you talk about this writing group, and this writing group has been instrumental in getting The Last Son to where it was, and also The Hanged Man isn't that correct?
Yeah, it is just a fantastic group of writers, and 4 of us are published. Kwame Tristan Strong punches a hole in the sky. He just hit the New York Times bestseller list.
Wow.
Yeah, and most of them
he didn't buy his way into the New York Times
God.
bestseller list, did he?
No, he didn't.
Like someone else.
Yeah,
we're not going to name names.
But they're mostly young adult and middle grade. I think pretty much the only one that's been published that has an adult fiction novel, but somehow all the different genres we have around the table in my writing group mesh as well, and we're all very familiar with each other's work. We hang out together, we'll do holiday parties, we do writing retreats together, and if you ever ask me, the first piece of advice I would give about writing is you've got to join a writing group, one that works with your style. There's no better way to bring yourself on, further along and level up as a writer.
Right, great. So tell us about The Last Son.
Elevator pitch,
yeah. Of The Last
Son. It reimagines the world as we know it, modern day, but it reimagines the world as if Atlantis had always existed, and it operated in secrecy up until the 1960s, at which point the satellites that were launched into sky and the orbital flights that were first launched was able to spot and identify the island of Atlantis through the spells that had kept it hidden for thousands of years. And in the modern time now, this is well after New Atlantis or Atlantis has been revealed. There was a war, then there was a peace. The refugees of Atlantis settled on the island of Nantucket off the coast of Massachusetts and built the city of New Atlantis, which is made from teleported ruins from across the world. And my novel focuses at its heart on two characters, Rune Saint John, who's the last member of a court that has fallen, and his companion Brand, who's somewhat of a lifelong bodyguard. And the premise of this is it's loosely based around tarot cards, especially the major arcana, the tower and the sun and the star and the moon. And each court is based around one of those cards. Rune's court is the Sun Throne, which fell when he was 15 years old. So he's the last surviving member of it. And it's really his story about initially, what he and Brand do to survive on a day-to-day basis. But as the story goes on, especially in novel 2, you see that what's really happening is Rune is rebuilding his court, whether he realizes it or not.
Exactly. And I wondered when that was going to happen. And
lot soon.
That was...
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I almost gave a spoiler.
The definitely, I think that, I'm not going to give any spoilers either, but the fact that Rune is building people around him, that
right.
he's becoming somewhat of the misfit king.
I
think starts in Last Sun, and Hangman certainly continues that theme of people are drawn to him. He's an important figure, and he's, there are a lot of outcasts in Atlantis society that are looked down upon. If you're not strong enough to defend yourself, you're not considered worthy of anyone's time. And
right.
Rune is the story of survival and coming back from one of the worst things that could happen, the death of everyone he loved.
Well, and he's rather charismatic in and of himself. And,
yes.
and Brand is anti-charismatic. So his alter ego. He's his id.
I love writing the two of those together. That's been the joy of the series is just creating two characters who operate almost independently of my brain. I literally just have to do open quote of dialogue, and they take over from there.
Yeah.
Well, it's
you remember my favorite line from the Last Sun that Brand said.
Yeah, we both do.
It's like, oh my God, I had to put the book down and laugh for 10 minutes.
I was in a car shop reading while my car was being worked on, and I came across that chapter, and I had to stifle a laughter, otherwise everybody would be looking at me.
He's just that funny. Anyway, I said in my review of The Last Sun that it's like a D&D adventure with cell phones and cars.
That's about right.
And it really is. And that's the way I felt about it. And it kind of gives you that. It kind of sounds weird.
No, but it's a quest. It's a quest story.
Everything. Yeah. It is a quest story. And the Hanged Man is.
It is too, without giving away any details.
Exactly.
It is also one very specific quest that has some wild twists and turns in it.
And I think your RPG experience is coming into play.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, so mine too. I mean, I'm a video game player, so as a gamer, the entire spell system could be mapped to a video game controller. I mean, in my head, I can literally see how that would work as a video game. Nothing would give me greater pleasure someday than to turn the tarot world into an open world RPG video game.
Oh, that would be fabulous.
My husband and I, we grew up in the days of the old text adventure kind of thing, and as I'm reading Hangman
and D&D on paper.
Yeah, D&D on paper, but I keep thinking back to when I was playing adventure, how there's a moment, Rune sees something, pick it up, it's now in your inventory, that kind of thing. I mean, I kept seeing that play out in my head as I was reading this, which gives the book a very unusual theatricality to it. I mean, I see the story take place in my head, but at the same time, I feel like I'm reading computer text.
Yeah, well,
it was so weird for me.
Yeah, and Rune is kind of the other part of Brand is the other part of Rune in a role playing game that says are you really going to do that? Are you really? Do you really? Are you going to do that? It's your subconscious saying. So that's the kind of the way I feel about it.
That's a really good point. Was that sort of your intent with Brand? I mean, at any point did you even think of Brand on that level? Because there are moments, especially in The Last Sun, where Brand is literally talking into Rune's ear.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, he's definitely a bit of the the Greek chorus that happens in the background. But I always try
screaming
to
in the background.
subvert expectations, and I try to be unconventional. Sometimes when people think I'm going to zig, I like to zag, and I can do that because of Rune and Brand. Because where it's something that Rune is doing, I can have a moment where Brand will just basically says, "Nope, nope, 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 that is not going to go that way."
You are not doing that.
Are you effing out of your mind?
Exactly. Anyway, so Last Sun ends kind of on a cliffhanger.
Does it?
Yeah, of sorts.
Well, I suppose it's not fully resolved.
I basically do announce the theme for the next novel, that Last Sun. I'll say that.
Right. So then tell us about the Hanged Man, or what you can about the Hanged Man, and, the whole process of getting there, and, how excited are you, and how many fans have you picked up in the process?
Oh my God, that's an episode in itself.
That's a whole separate conversation. It's been I had just literally have the best readers in the universe, just amazing. But the Hangman, I do announce at the end of the Last Sun that they picked up a ward in their house. Someone essentially, they become the guardian of a young man named Matthias, or Max. And they find out at the end of the Last Sun that he has a pre-existing marital contract with the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is one of the Arcana on the island, one of those 22 omnipotent godlike beings, only he comes from the old school where he could do whatever he wants with impunity. He's a nightmarish figure. He is not adopted.
He sounds almost like a principality when you say it that way.
He hasn't essentially grabbed on to the modern world the way that other Arcana have. He is definitely old school, and I wanted him to be off-page a nightmarish figure. And so the first part of the book really is realizing the Hangman is not going to relinquish his claim on Max, and Rune and Brand realizing there is no way they could do a direct frontal assault on a man of this power, and trying to figure out how else can they find a way into his orbit to find a way to break the contract or to break the Hangman. So whereas I think there was a lot of the quest, if you're talking about quest terms, in the Last Sun, it was a lot of move from A to B, B to C. But in the Hangman, Rune has to get political. He has to think of subterfuge. He has to find more subtle ways to investigate the Hangman before he makes a direct accusation. And so I had fun playing around with that. One of the things I tried, and it could have come off very badly, is the Hangman doesn't show up until maybe 2/3 through the novel. And so off-page is everything you learn about him. And to try to build him up as a truly villainous antagonist, someone who is worthy of a reader's attention on the page, I put a lot of work into that. And it's been really gratifying hearing the early reviews for the people who've read it. Some of my readers with blogs have read it in advance. You guys have read it. So far, it's been very reassuring. I still am going to be hiding in my apartment tomorrow. This is a tradition now. The day my book comes out, I turn off my phone and I hide. But I think when I emerge from hiding, if people enjoyed the Last Sun, I really think they're going to enjoy the Hangman. I took everything that was good about it. Course-corrected things which I think could be improved, and I think I delivered a really good follow-up.
I think you did
believe too. I am convinced you developed more than just a good follow-up, and going back to this idea of holding back on the reveal of the Hangman, there's something almost Hitchcockian about it, because now you really get to play with theater of the mind.
Yes,
and that is such a great psychological technique, so that by the time but now the downside to that is now you have to be able to deliver, because when you finally do give the reveal, you've got this whole expectation built up, but now it's like, okay, now can I write something that is just as villainous? And that's when you took me on one of the most horrifying horror themed rides I had ever seen in a book, which just had my knuckles all white.
Yeah, I got to say that a couple of reviewers have said that the thing about urban fantasy or modern fantasy or speculative fiction is it's a mashup of genres. It's not just fantasy or sci-fi. You can have elements of mystery and romance and horror. And I never thought of myself as a horror writer, but that term has been used quite liberally in all the reviews I've seen so far of Hangman.
Yeah.
So,
well, you were a damn good horror writer.
It's a bloody good horror bit in that book. So it was fantastic.
I had fun writing that section, though I'll admit, I mean, that took me, I don't know, somewhere between like 7 and 12 months to write those 2 chapters.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad it took you that long.
Because
okay, sure.
It's very well done.
I mean, yeah, I would have loved for the book to come out earlier, but if I'm given a choice between let the book come out later but have it be better, hey, I'll pick that option any day of the week, and I'm sure you would too.
Mm-hmm. But I'm happy to say I'm pretty sure you're not going to be waiting 18 months for book 3. So I'm hard at work at that as we speak.
Oh, cool. So that is the next. Can you reveal the title or what card we're going to?
I do not have a title yet. I just call it Tarot 3 right now. And to be perfectly honest, the title that I use in my own head, I can't reveal because it would reveal
what
a little
it's all
too
about.
Much. And also one of the things about writing is authors don't usually choose the title of their book. The publisher does. So they'll let me know. Though I did call novel number 2 The Hangman, and they went with that. But what I had called number 1 was Not the Last Son, though I absolutely love the title they picked. So I'm certainly not complaining about it.
Well, it's a nice pun.
You could say maybe novel 3 is The New Son.
Yeah. Or
Who knows?
Maybe the final book will be The First Son. Or
yeah, there you go. And is that SUN or SON?
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, this has been really great to talk to you and to talk about The Last Son and talk about your career and talk about everything that we have, especially The Hanged Man. If you haven't already pre-ordered it, go buy it, pre-order it, buy it. Get it delivered, however you read it, whether it's electronic or whether you get the hard copy.
Well, there's also an audiobook coming out on this, too.
And it is. The link is up now for the audiobook. So
cool.
That drops tomorrow, the same as the book. So.
Cool. Josh, who did the audiobook for Last Son, has come back to do the audiobook for Hangman, and I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, I am very thrilled about that. Josh was amazing what he did with those characters. So I'm excited to share that with people too.
Yeah, well, as Sarah, your agent, Sarah Megabow, says, we are the epitome of what an author wants. We will buy 2 electronic copies, and we'll buy 2 hard copies, and he'll buy an audio copy. And
oh heck, how many copies of Star Wars do I own? Of course, I buy multiple copies.
Of course.
I mean, it's what I do. I'm a geek.
So tell everybody how they can find you on social media or all of that.
Where
all
are
of
the places that people
stuff.
can learn all about
your
you?
website and all that kind of neat stuff. And if you're on MySpace and
sure,
or the Instagrams.
I pretty much limit myself to Twitter at the moment. People are trying to encourage me to start my own Discord channel, so I'm thinking about that. But Twitter is where I interact with people the most, and that's at KatieEdwards_NC. And I also have a KatieEdwards.com as my website.
Cool.
And it's a cool-looking website, too. I love the tarot animation on there.
Yes, the person who redid my website, he did an amazing job with that. He had a lot of fun making that happen. So
cool. Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing more from you as we go along.
Well, thank you, guys. It's always fun talking to you.
Yep.
This is Chuck Tomasi, author of Podcasting for Dummies and host of Technorama, the podcast for geeks. And you are listening to The Two Gay Geeks, because geek is better than cool.
We need to make it up there again to Technorama sometime soon. Oh my gosh, it's just
not going to happen before the end of the year.
No, it's just so busy anymore. Here's a few selected birthdays for December 16th through December 22nd, 2019. December 16th, Ludwig van Beethoven, composer, opera, Fidelio, tons of piano music, lots of piano music, 9 symphonies.
9 phenomenal symphonies.
Yes, absolutely. Kristen Ritter, a.k.a. Jessica Jones.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, sure, yeah.
Jane Austen. She was a novelist of the last quarter of the 18th century. She wrote Sense and Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice, among other things. A fantastic author. Philip K. Dick.
Another fantastic author.
Another sci-fi author.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my.
Heady stuff.
Wow. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and Man in the High Castle were his, and some of the spin-offs or the movies and or TV programs or Blade Runner.
You can remember it for Wholesale, which caused Total Recall.
Yes. And Blade Runner, Minority Report, Man in the High Castle is a series. So, wow.
He did a lot of things that were very
really
cerebral.
Cerebral and very out there. Also on December 16th, Zoltan Kodály. He was a composer, a composer, but a creator of method of musical education. He used rhythmic sounds and hand signals. And actually, there's a sci-fi component to his
Let me guess, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yes.
I figured.
The Kodály method.
I didn't realize that was
for
his.
the hand signs. The hand signs, that they used. So that was his. And Arthur C. Clarke. Wow. What do you say about Arthur C. Clarke?
Well,
one of the Holy Trinity. Well, I guess the big three is what they're actually called. But
yeah, if you're going to say Clarke,
Holy
Asimov,
Trinity,
and Heinlein, then
yes,
exactly. He is one of the Holy Trinity.
2001 was his, and he was named Prophet of the Space Age. That was a name that he was given. Also, on December 16th, Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top.
Yep.
He actually, with another band before they formed ZZ Top, opened for Hendrix with another band. So, way back. Yeah.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. And then he had a bit part in the TV show Bones as the father of one of the gals in the lab there.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
December 17th, Eugene Levy, actor with a troupe of actors, Catherine O'Hara, Harry Shearer, Christopher Guest. In
Second City.
They did several movies, A Mighty Wind.
Their mockumentaries are fantastic.
For your consideration. Oh my gosh, yeah. And Bill Pullman of Independence Day, among other things. And Paracelsus, a 16th century alchemist and physician. He advocated for keeping wounds clean and also was the one that introduced opium in the form of laudanum to medicine. Prior to Paracelsus, they believed that if you put cow dung and other things on wounds, and it would help them, and that infection was part of the healing process.
Oh, I'm going to be sick.
Exactly. Thank God for Paracelsus. And thank God for the opium.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And then we have Paul Rogers.
Which Paul Rogers? The singer?
That Paul Rogers.
Okay.
Singer.
Formerly of Bad... Well, I think he's back with Bad Company now. I'm not sure. But he was the lead singer for Queen for a time.
Yeah, we saw him with Queen at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yep.
That was a parking nightmare.
I never want to go there again.
Exactly. And Bernard Hill, who was King Theoden.
Theoden in the Lord of the Rings films.
Yes, and Facebook friend Rhonda Dela Cruz and my cousin Kelly Pitts. December 18th, Steven Spielberg. Oh my gosh, what do you say about Steven Spielberg? Master of cinema.
I know. Well, he...
Wow.
I don't want to be a downer, but he blew it on one movie.
Well...
But be that as it may, that's a movie that never should have been made.
But he picked it up at the last minute to try to salvage it.
I'm not talking AI.
No.
Ready Player One.
No. I thought he picked up one of the Star Wars. Who was it that picked up the Star Wars?
It was Ron Howard.
Oh, Ron Howard, right. There we go.
No, Spielberg did Ready Player One. That's the one I'm talking about.
Oh,
that one never should have been made.
Yeah, well... It should. Well, it was too big a book. There were too many references.
It should have been a mini-series.
Yeah, it should have been. Also on December 18th, Keith Richards, who is older than God. Yeah. And Cicely Tyson, wonderful actress of color, Fried Green Tomatoes, and A Trip to Bountiful, which was the 2014 remake of the 1985 Geraldine Page film. the
I remember
85
they-
Geraldine
yeah.
Page film
Oh, it's
was
fantastic.
incredible.
I remember they did a remake. I just never had the chance to
and
see it.
among other many other things that she's done. She's a wonderful actress. And Ossie Davis, Ghosts of Christmas Eve by Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and he was also in Bubba Hotep.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that loony film.
Yes, and Leonard Maltin, the movie guy.
Yeah.
Yep. December 19th, Alyssa Milano. She was in Charmed, and she was referenced in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, she was, because the ship is named after her.
Yes.
The Milano.
The Milano, exactly. And Mike Lookinland.
Bobby from the Brady
Bobby
Bunch.
from the Brady Bunch. And Edith Piaf. She was a French torch singer with a very colorful life and career. So, rather colorful. She was actually supposedly born on the streets of Paris. So, strange occurrences in her life. Anyway, December 20th, Uri Geller, the original spoonbender, not that imitation in The Matrix.
I don't know what to say about that guy.
He was a magician. That's
That's
all he was.
was just a magician.
Exactly. And Alan Parsons, sound engineer and recording artist of
They named a
in his
band after
own
him.
right. Yeah, exactly. Or he was named after a band, I think. Maybe
that's it.
Maybe that's it. But he was a recording artist for the Beatles.
Recording engineer.
And also recording engineer also for Pink Floyd.
He
did,
recorded Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side of the Moon, exactly. And also John Hillerman, who did many things. Just kind of a character actor. Most noted for being the butler in Magnum P.I.
Ah. Yes. Okay.
Who actually turned out to be the guy.
The guy. Yeah, imagine that.
December 21st, Jane Fonda. Say what you will. Jane is a great
Phenomenal actress.
Just phenomenal actress. And Grace and Frankie.
Grace
oh, my
and
God.
Frankie's fantastic.
Oh, my God.
And my mom and I were just talking about 9 to 5, which is a
my.
fantastic movie. I mean, Jane is a great actress, especially when it comes to comedy. I think she's really got a gift there.
Yep. Also, Samuel L. Jackson, Mr. MF himself.
I was going to say, everybody's favorite mother.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, what an actor. I mean, he is his from comedy to serious to just insane.
To me, though, Frozone. Yes. Honey, where's my super suit?
Why do you need your super suit? Also, Frank Zappa.
Oh, my goodness.
Names his children weird things.
I know. The guy was a genius in his own right.
Yep. And Phil Donahue, king of daytime TV. And somebody once said, if it weren't for Phil, there would be no Oprah Winfrey. And he was
That's about right.
Yep, married to Marlo Thomas.
Yep.
For years. And Jeffrey Katzenberg, who had his finger in multiple pies and made a fortune at it.
And now,
oh my God.
where is he?
Living on
He's living on some tropical island,
exactly.
drinking Mai Tais.
Exactly. Who knows? Who cares at this point? He made so much money.
I envy the guy.
Yep. And then friends, Eric Coleman, who's a filk artist up in Iowa. And
one half of blank.
Oh, my God.
Cheshire Moon.
Cheshire Moon. There we go. Sorry. And David Lewin, December 22nd. Rafe Fiennes, who was an actor, and who shall not be named.
Oh, very funny.
Ha, ha.
He was Voldemort.
Yes. Oh, you don't say that name.
Fear of a name only furthers the fear of the person. Something like that.
Yep. And Robin and Maurice Gibb. They were
the Bee Gees.
Twins.
Yeah, and
Born on the same day.
And sadly, they're both dead.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Gene Rayburn.
Match Game.
I swear, everybody on that show was drinking.
I'm sure they were. I don't doubt that if you walked on the set, you could smell the different brands of alcohol in the air.
I'm sure. And Giacomo Puccini, opera composer, who we're going to see Bohème in La Bohème in January here at Arizona Opera. And Barbara Billingsley, Leave It to Beaver. I wrote "Love It to Beaver."
Love it to Beaver?
That's what I wrote down. Anyway, no.
Okay.
And also, good friend of ours, Russ Kazmierczak. Happy birthday, Russ. And Mary Wiley Bunch, Corey's mother-in-law.
Yes.
Yes. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad?
Not me.
That's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name.
Not
they
anymore.
don't even have roadkill in a paper
It's
cup.
a legitimate company
That's
now.
why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast. Technorama.
Rama.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
Everybody knows that's the feedback music.
Yeah, so we got a little bit of feedback here. Starting off with, this is an article called Talking About My Generation. This was put up by Jeannie Koch. And we got a comment from Christina Callahan. She said, "This is so true. I've often felt a little kept out of the whole hashtag generation thing. But being a quote-unquote pepper myself, I have to forego the Pepsi title. Generation Pepper for me. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too?" And then, what I love is Jeannie Koch's response. She says, "That would require David Naughton to be our spokesman, though, and I think he's actually a boomer, LOL." Wow. Good for you. Points, Jeannie. Points. That was really well done. Then moving on, this is regarding TG Geeks episode number 248, where we got to interview Scott Ramsey of the movie X. And he left us on Twitter. He said, "I had this distinct pleasure of chatting with the two gay geeks about our movie X on their latest, and we were glad to have you on."
Yeah.
And then moving on to episode 249. Got a bunch of birthday thank yous. Yeah. Starting off, got a thank you from Michael Cohen. He says, "Thanks for the shout out." From Jessica Marino, she says, "Thanks, guys." From Douglas Kinsman, "Thanks for the birthday shout out, guys." From Linda Reese, "Thanks for the birthday wishes." And then we close it off with a comment from Krypton Radio, because we kind of hyped them in that episode. And we got a comment. This was specifically from Susan. She says, "Susan here. Krypton Radio is more than just a podcast, but a full-time streaming radio, as you know. Proud to boost the Two Gay Geeks signal every week."
Yeah, and we've changed that. Not a podcast.
To not a podcast.
It's a 24-hour internet radio station.
Yes.
Yes. And if you want to leave a comment on any of our content, you can do that on our episodes, on each article. You can do it by going to tggeeks.com and leaving a comment on each one of those articles. Or you can leave a comment on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or any other place that you find our podcast that comments are available. If you also want to leave us a voicemail, we would play it on air, and you can be happy and what's the word I'm looking for?
I have no idea.
Famous,
maybe,
for your 5 seconds, like we are. You can call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice. Well, we want to continue on by giving a shout out to Madame Askew's Templar. I did that
Wow.
again. The Templar entourage. Yes, the temporal. Madame Askew's temporal entourage. Madame Askew is a charming and cheeky tea mistress and a designer and teacher of steampunk fashion. She and the Grand Arbiter have live tea sessions on Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific and Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific, or 10 a.m. Pacific.
Oy.
Yes. Oh, my God. Join them for tea and conversation, and please consider supporting them on patreon.com and search for Madame Askew. As everybody knows, we are huge supporters of independent creators, whether they're filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others. Please, if you see them someplace, buy their stuff, talk to them, talk to other people about them, and buy their stuff. Please consider supporting independent creators. Oh my gosh, this is just the first episode.
I know, we're in trouble.
We got 2 more to do. And we also want to give a shout out to the Joshua Tree Feeding Program. They're a 501c3 nonprofit food pantry for the HIV/AIDS community in Maricopa and Pinal counties. And they offer a place where the clients can select what they want to take home. It's set up like a store, so it empowers them to take the food, only the food they want, so that no food is wasted. Please consider supporting Joshua Tree either with a single gift or a monthly recurring gift. You may also consider a $30 a month gift and be part of their Pearl program. And you can get a lapel pin, a handmade lapel pin. Go to jtfp.org. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like 2 gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're 2 gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Well, as we've alluded to earlier in this episode, we are going to be taking a little bit of a break.
Yeah, we're right
going away.
We're trying to get 3 episodes recorded this weekend, or the weekend prior to this Monday that you're listening to this. And oh my gosh, we've been at it all day long trying to put them together and all that kind of neat stuff. And so we're just a little brain dead.
So in terms of future episodes, if they seem a little scattered, and if there's some missing information, well, it's because we're time shifting again.
Yep, exactly.
That's all.
So we're probably not going to have you've got some feedback in each of the episodes.
Yes, I got feedback in each one, but in terms of weekly review, we have absolutely no idea what we're going to be running on what specific day. Now, you got me doing it.
Do continue to look at tggeeks.com, because we're going to continue on with our holiday movie reviews, as well as other things that may come along that may be a little timely. We'll still have those things in there too. But the holiday movie reviews some of them are a little humorous, and some of them have a tenuous connection to the holidays at best. So, yes, we have one for several movies that are questionable, whether they're holiday movies or not.
The debate is out on some of them. But we will be bringing our laptops with us, because we're not going out of the country like we did last year.
No,
we're just going over to Oklahoma to spend Christmas with his family.
Yeah, hopefully the weather will be nice over there.
I'm really hoping.
Thank God.
So we'll have our Macs with us, our laptops, and we'll be able to continually update the website as we see fit. So that's no problem there.
So keep checking it out, and we certainly have 2 more episodes that are coming, and that'll take us through actually the end of the year, and then we'll be back and recording a new one for, I think, January 6th. So stay tuned for more. And we have a weekly recap, as we usually do, for this week.
Yes, and all of these links, or all of these articles that I'm going to mention, we will have the links for on our website for this episode at tggeeks.com. Starting with Sunday, December 8th, Dr. Zombie Monster Family Physician number 78.
Wow, he's
closing in on 100.
too. Yeah.
And then on Monday the 9th, TG Geeks episode number 251. On Tuesday the 10th, Genie's Christmas Classics, Bachelor Mother for the Holidays. And then on Wednesday, we have 2 things. First is a press release. Whistler Film Festival announces winner of the 2019 Power Pitch Competition. And then Tommy Cannon chimes in. He's got, well, let's just say he tackles Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Oh, that was a jewel.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's a classic.
Absolutely. And then on Thursday the 12th, another press
Classic
release.
crap.
Yeah, well. 2020 Sundance Film Festival hosts the world premiere of native narrative short Little Chief. And then another press release, Santa's here with Silent Night, Deadly Night apparel, trading cards, activity books, available now at frightrags.com. On Friday the 13th, yes, Friday the 13th, new sushi number 90, morsels of news from Japan and beyond, and that is from the phenomenal Hamish Downey.
Wow. Episode number 90.
Wow. Yeah, he's really coming in on 100.
We're coming in, homing in on 100.
And he's asking, what am I going to do for my centennial?
I don't know.
I have no idea. And then another press release, discovered in Antigone, young actor Hakim Brahimi won the lead role of Montreal Girls.
I think that's Hakim.
Hakim? Oh, you're
Yes.
right. Sorry.
Not Hackham.
Did I say Hakim? Oh, sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, me no good with speaking. I'll just be quiet now.
No, you have one more.
Oh, shoot. And then on Saturday the 14th, Keith's Corner. He reduces. Yeah, well, yeah, in a way you do. He takes a look at Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but he says it should be called Rudolph and the Bullies of Christmas Town.
Exactly.
Or as I like to say it, Rudolph versus the Bigots.
Exactly. And you can find all these things at tggeeks.com, as well as our entries on the Facebook page. Please visit and comment.
This is probably very dangerous for me to go through since I just can't say Hakim correctly.
That's okay.
Starting off with, there's a bunch of shout-outs we got to give. The Arkle Times Post Dispatch News, which republishes our content from time to time, and that's put out by the human Arkle, Brian Weber. You can find it by finding him on Twitter, and all you have to do is search Arkle at A-R-K-L-E. He's also on YouTube. He has the Shameless Cash Grab, which he just, not too long ago, wrapped Season 3. And you can find him on YouTube by going to youtube.com/Arkle Studios. And while Season 3 is done, Brian is currently playing Star Trek Online, and he does wish for people to watch.
Yeah.
And we must give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for also allowing us to post our lovely content there. First to Gay Geeks After Hours. When I asked if we could share our content, and they literally did say, oh, please share away. Their URL is facebook.com/group/Gay Geeks After Hours, all one word. And then to The Gay Geek for also allowing us to share all of our lovely content there. And their URL is facebook.com/group/The Gay Geek. And we must give thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And your little flub there is no worse than any more of mine that I've made in screwing things up.
I just hope he's not listening to this, or I'm really going to feel embarrassed.
Oh, it's okay. I'm sure he understands. You were rushing through it, and it's okay. And lastly, we're now found on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Krypton Radio.
Which is not a podcast.
Which is not a podcast. It's check us out on...
I derailed you.
Yes. Also, check us out on Krypton Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays and listen to their other content. They are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, as a lot of people do, because they found that they can surf the internet while they are listening to our episode. If you're doing it on your
Mobile device?
desktop or mobile device or whatever, YouTube works really well. So check it out. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page of things that we've talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to yourself and others. Peace.
Cheers.